Good morning. Welcome to my monthly coaching calls. This is Greg Herder, and the goal of these calls each and every month is to make sure that you're moving forward, that you're applying what you learned at the 3-day marketing mastery event, and that you're growing both personally, professionally, at building a marketing-driven real estate business. Before we go to work, I want to basically cover some quick logistics. First of all, I want to make sure everybody can hear me. So to the right of the screen here, there should be a little thing at the top. Can you hear me, yes or no? And if you just click on that yes or no, I can now see if you can hear me. All right, I see the vast majority of you can hear me. I see a couple of people are struggling. That usually means that they need to tune their computer volume up. But since the vast majority of you can hear me, we're going to go ahead and go to work. So today, what I want to do is talk about 2015. 2014 is almost over. 2015 is right around the corner. And if it hasn't started already, you're going to be hit with all kinds of questions about what are your goals for the year ahead. Now, so many agents just go through the motions. They look back at what they did this past year and simply add 10, 15% to this year's production and say, this is my goal for the next year. Or they set a goal based on some wish, but they never really believe that it will become a reality. Both of these activities, in my opinion, are a total waste of your time. It may get your manager off your back or make you feel like you're working on your business, but trust me, it's not going to make a difference unless you take it a little more seriously. Goal setting, business planning is so critically important. If you're like most people each year, you set some New Year's resolutions, but then you don't keep them past February or March of each year. If you are not happy with the results you get from that process, then I want to share with you how to change that. Before we can look ahead, the first thing you have to do is look behind you. I know this is hard, but unless you know where you are today and how you got here, it's hard to move forward effectively. It's like to open up the world map and pointing to a place you would like to be without knowing where you are. There's no way to figure out, gosh, how do I go from here to get there? So the first thing I want you to do is make a list of the key areas of your life. If you have a balance wheel from the Marketing Mastery event, that's a great place to start. Now, you'll remember the headlines from the balance wheel: family, relationships, career, physical health, mental growth, spiritual beliefs, friendships, community involvement, financial independence. Collectively, all these areas determine if you're living a life on purpose and living a life of true significance. And they make such a big difference. Now, write down an honest description of where you are in each one of these areas right now. Now, you're not going to show this list to anyone else on the planet, so be totally honest with yourself. Make sure you don't lie to yourself. Face the truth. This is going to be harder than you think if you truly open up. And it's so important that you do that. You really honestly look at each area. Health. Where are you? Are you in the health position you really want to be? Are you weighing what you want to weigh? Is your cholesterol where you want it to be? Are you in the shape you want to be? I mean, give it a real honest look, because these are so important. See, think about where you really are and be totally honest and put it down. This is where most people fail. They cannot bring themselves to really look at their lives. It's easier just not to think about it. But once you've gone through and written down where you are in each area, it'll give you so much great insight, and now you'll be able to really think about where you want to go. It's the starting point. Where am I right now? Because that's the starting point that will get you to where you want to go at the end of next year. Next, what you have to do is write a list of what are you most proud of accomplishing during the past year. Think back and ask yourself what motivated you to do the things that you're proud of. Then ask yourself if you can apply that motivation, that same things that drove you to accomplish the things you're proud of this past year in other areas of your life. Now, look at this for each one of the areas of your life. So make a list of all the things that you are really proud of that accomplished in all those areas of your life. And really think about it. Now, what I want you to do is ask yourself, is there anything that you wished you would have done differently this past year? Now again, go through each area and write down what you would have done differently. Don't write down fluff like, I wish I would have been nicer to everyone. That's not helpful, and it's simply helping you avoid dealing with the real issues. I know this is hard, but I promise it is worth the effort. It is also why so few agents do it. It's hard to look at yourself openly and honestly, but the payoff is so powerful. Thoreau said the unexamined life is not worth living. Now, I wouldn't take it that far, but what I have found is this. The unexamined life tends to repeat both the good and bad. And now you fail to grow, you fail to get better, because you aren't looking at, gosh, what can I improve on? What did I do well? And this is so important. Now, once you have a list of things that you wish you had done differently, for each item on your list, ask, can I change this today? And write a yes or no next to each thing. Now, you can look at it and say, can I actually change this right now, today? And this is not that hard to figure out. So, yes, I can change it. No, I can't. Now, go back to each no and write out why you believe you can't change it today. For example, one of the things you think, gosh, I wish I would have done differently, was to express my gratitude to a person who really helped you during a difficult time in your life. When you ask, can I change this today? And you wrote no, now ask yourself, why can't you change it? So maybe you wrote down that it would be embarrassing to call them now after a long period of time. Now ask yourself, is that a real reason that you cannot do something? Or is that just a justification because it would be a little embarrassing and you don't want to endure that embarrassing? Or you don't know exactly how they would respond. You don't know what the out there feeling would be about it. If you wrote down, the reason I cannot change is because they passed away, now that's a real reason. See, they're no longer here. But if it's just because, gosh, I'm a little embarrassed, realize it's just an excuse. And ask yourself how important it is to you to really accomplish your goal. Write down why you want to change this, how your life would be different if you did. Then write down how you would feel if you never changed that type of behavior for the rest of your life. And most importantly, ask yourself, what are the consequences? And what are the consequences on my entire life if you never changed? Finally, ask yourself, if you've never changed, how much would it bother you on a scale from 1 to 10? Now go through and cross off everything that was just a 1 to 5. Say, really, this is not important enough for me to change, and I'm not even going to worry about it. For the things that are 6 and higher on your scale, write out what has been stopping you from changing them. Then go back and look at what you wrote were the long-term consequences of not changing this item. And if you're honest about this, you will come up with a list of things that you really want to change and that are very powerful. And you will clearly see the negative impact of not changing these on your life. Next, write out a list of things that you are determined to change in your life because you are no longer willing to live with the results of not changing. You realize the negative consequences are just requiring you to pay too high of a price. Now comes the most important part of this process: clarifying your reasons for changing. Jim used to say, if you have enough reasons, you can change anything in your life. You can kick drugs, get rich, control your temper, improve your communication, lose weight. It doesn't matter what it is. You can do anything if you have enough reasons, if there's a strong enough why. The problem is most of us simply do not have enough reasons to change. But when we start looking at the consequences of not changing and the impact that it will have on our lives today, tomorrow, next week, the reasons for changing start to grow. Now let me share a little secret with you. You have to avoid trying to figure out how you're going to accomplish the changes you want to make. And this is hard. You say, well, gosh, I really want to lose 20 pounds, but I don't know how. I've tried dieting. I've tried this. I've tried that. And now we get caught up in knowing how before we actually get committed to the goal. And what I want you to do is don't worry about how, because if you start wondering how, you're going to quickly get discouraged and give up. What I have found is that life will show you how only when you have enough strong enough reason. When you say, gosh, the reason I want to lose 20 pounds, make sure my cholesterol is low, my blood pressure is low, is so that I live long enough to see my grandkids get married. That I can do this, I can do that. See, if you start thinking about the reasons why, and you get clear, these are the reasons, now you'll never give up trying. You'll never stop looking for it because you'll say, oh my goodness, this is costing me way too much. What am I going to miss out on? What am I going to do? And this is so powerful. Now you're finally ready to start thinking about your goals for 2015. Start by making a list of goals that would help you change the things that you feel compelled to change. So you've thought about things that you really want to change, and you say, well, gosh, this is costing me. So now deal with those first. As you write these down, I know you'll feel the excitement growing inside you about the impact of accomplishing these goals. The goals that have an emotional power will drive you forward. Now, once these goals are written down, go through each area from your balance wheel and think about the goals that you want to accomplish in the year ahead. Maybe the goal is to simply lose 20 pounds, exercise 20 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Now, you have to write out why you will want to accomplish this goal. But you really have to slow down and listen to your feelings and thoughts. Maybe you write down the reason I want to lose 20 pounds is so I can look better in my clothes. Listen to what your gut tells you. I want you to be able to really listen to your inner self. Maybe it's, gosh, the reason I want to lose 20 pounds is so I don't want to lose my breath. So I can play with my grandkids more. I want to live long enough and be healthy enough that I can watch my grandkids graduate from college. I also want to feel better about the way I look. I want to feel like I am truly attractive, that when my spouse looks at me. Think about what's really important to you. These are things that are critical. The more you get in touch with why you want to accomplish a goal, the more likely you will be to accomplish that goal. Maybe you write down you want to earn $500,000 a year selling real estate next year. And I want 4 weeks of vacation, 1 4-day weekend each calendar month of the year. And the reason I want to earn $500,000 is so that after taxes and expenses, I can put $50,000 in a retirement plan each year for the next 10 years, which allow me to retire with an income of $8,000 per month and never touch the principal. so I can leave $500,000 tax-free to each one of my kids when I die. I want 4 weeks of vacation so I can spend one romantic week alone with my spouse each year as a way of keeping our relationship strong and dynamic. I want to spend 2 weeks with my kids each year. One at a place I pick, and one at a place they pick. And for the entire weeks of vacation, I will never say that anything costs too much. I want to create such memorable vacations that my kids will never forget, and they'll talk about them well into their adult lives. I want to be able to drive an S550 because I look good in that baby. And I want to feel what it's like to earn that much and feel that great about myself. As you go through your goals, if you get clear on these reasons, it will make such a big difference at driving you forward. I want you to realize how critical this is. Now, go through your goals and your reasons for doing well. Get in touch with the reasons that you are excited about. These are the things that will drive you when you're facing difficulties, when you are tired, when the invariable struggles of life come at us. I have also found it's when you're struggling it's much more powerful to review the reasons you want something than it is to review the actual goal itself. Think and Grow Rich called this your magnificent obsession. What's driving you forward? Now, as you start thinking about this process, I want to give you a step-by-step outline for basically setting your goals and building a game plan for 2015. First, I want you to do some big picture brainstorming about what you want your life to look like, what you want it to stand for. Start by thinking about your core values. What is important to you? If you have the values clarification sheet from the Marketing Mastery event, look at those core 5 values. Look at the Credo exercise, the different exercises in there, and just get in touch with them. I especially really like that eulogy exercise in there. And if you don't have that, just write out your eulogy. What would you like people to say at your own funeral? And this always brings us in touch with, gosh, this is the long-term value that I want my life to represent. Then, make a list of all the things that you feel are the most important things for you to accomplish in your life. Now, this is just brainstorming. This is not setting goals. This is just, this is what I really would like my life to be like. I'm dreaming. I'm thinking about my life. Now, don't be afraid to dream here. Let your mind go and dream big. What do you really want your life to stand for at the end? What is the person you want to be? Don't worry where you are right now. Think, gosh, this is the person I want to be. Now, this is so critical. Then, think about all the places you want to go in your life. Think about the impact you want to have on your family, your friends. Again, this is the big picture of your life. We have to dream if we want to drink deeply from this experience called life. I love the quote from the children of Sanchez. It says, "Take the crumbs from starving soldiers. They won't die. Take the bread from hungry children. They won't cry. But without dreams, we all will die." You have to have a dream that pulls you forward, that gets you excited to get through the difficult times that each year always brings. It's now from this mindset of, gosh, here's what I really want my life to be like. I want it to be this magnificent experience. Now we need to step back and break that big picture vision down into practical, doable steps. Now, the way we do this is we break our vision for our life down into 5-year, 1 and 2 year, and 3-month time frames. The way we accomplish an extraordinary life is to break the parts down into intern steps, so that now the steps seem more doable in our mind. We can say, well, gosh, I can do this. Maybe I can't get to there, but I can take this little step. And now, if we break a big, audacious goal down into smaller and smaller segments, we are much more likely to now start taking the action step forward. And the goal is always get down to, now, what's the next action step? What's the next action step to move me towards that goal? And if we can get it down to a next action step, it's a simple activity. And this is so critical. Now remember that your goals need to be SMART goals. Now SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, achievable, results-oriented, and time-specific. Now I know you've all heard this, but I really want you to make sure that you're doing this, because when you get down to the specifics, it makes a huge difference. Now go through each area of your life. Health goals, wealth goals, relationship goals, friendship goals, every single aspect. Now before I met Jim, when somebody asked me to work on my goals or I thought about it, I really just thought about income goals and some business goals. And for some people, that may be enough to drive them. But I know that for me, that didn't seem to have a huge impact on me. But when Jim got me to sit down and set family goals, goals for living a life of influence, I will tell you, it changed a huge amount of me. See, it changed every aspect of my life. Now, keeping your big picture dreams for your life in mind, I want you to start making your goals more and more specific. Start by writing out where you would like to be 5 years from now in each area of your life. Visualize it, get a picture of it, and write down, okay, I want to be here. And give yourself that clarity. Now, once you've gotten a 5-year vision, and again, it may not bring you to specific action steps, but what I want you to do now is take it and say, okay, if I'm going to get to this step 5 years from now, what are the things I need to do over the next year? I don't have to get all the way there, but what are the specific things I need to do in the next year that will move me towards that goal? Now, here's where you have to get more specific and detailed. Now, write things that you truly believe you can accomplish in the year ahead. Make sure they will stretch you, but you have to believe that you have a very good shot at accomplishing them. And this is one of the tricky parts. If you set goals that are so easy to accomplish, they don't pull you. If you set them unrealistically, they won't pull you. But if you set a goal that's, gosh, if I apply myself, I've got a great shot of accomplishing that. Now, it starts to pull you along. It starts to draw you in because you can see it, you can start to taste it. And this is what makes such a huge difference here. Now, for each yearly goal, what you have to do is say, okay, how do I break this down into quarters and months? Okay, if I'm going to accomplish this by the end of next year, and it may be for some of them 18 months, maybe 2 years, a year just uses a guideline there, and now say, okay, if I'm going to be here at this end of this point, what do I need to do each month between now and then? And what I want you to do is break it down into monthly goals that will lead you to your yearly goal. What I found is that sometimes if we have a yearly goal, we don't know how to take the first action step because it seems like, gosh, I don't know what to do. But when we start breaking it down, it's easier to now take action. You want to bring it closer, make it more granular. Then, As you move forward, what you want to do is add more detail. Things that are further than 6 months out can be more general. But as things get 6 months and within, what I want you to do is add more great detail. Once they get 3 months, even more detail. This month and this week have the greatest detail. See, we start from the general, but now we get into the specific. And this is going to take some time. And I want you to realize this will make a huge difference. Now, once you have taken your 5-year vision, moved it from a 1-year plan or a 1-year vision, now you're laying out a month-by-month plan for moving forward. And what you're going to do is say, here's the action steps, and give yourself a time frame for actually accomplishing it. This is so critically important. So what you want to do is write, here's the goal. And I actually put together this goal planning guide that I used as a real estate manager. And it asks you to sort of do what I'm talking about here, create this, brainstorming vision of your life, then start working on your long-term goals. Then go to your personal short-term goals, and for each goal, for each thing that you want to do, write down, here's the goal, write down, why is this goal important to me? So you aren't just focused on making the money, losing the weight, exercising. You're focused on the why. Here's why. And then you break it down into action steps. And I want you to come up with what I call the next 3 action steps for each thing. So you say, okay, for this goal, I need to start doing X. I need to start walking around the block Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And now I'm going to start next Wednesday. And now you bring it down. You bring it down to specific activities for your long-term goals. You bring it back to specifics. And if you'd like a copy of my form, drop me an email. Everybody knows my email, greg.herder@hobbsherder.com. Just Google me if you have any questions about it, or on your questions and things there, just type in, I want a copy of your form, and we will email it to you. But I want you to now make sure you go through it in detail. So it brings it back to those action steps. And for each action step, what I want you to do is put a date that you are committed to doing it. I call it the due date. Here's when I'm going to actually start making progress. Now, I also want you to start setting up some key progress points to reward yourself, so that as you hit these progress points, you have a little party, you take a day off, you buy a new outfit, whatever gets you excited. I want you to feel like you're making regular progress. Now, finally, what I want you to do on a very daily basis is before you go to bed each day, don't turn on the TV, or after you turn off the TV, just sit there for a few minutes, pull out your journal, and ask yourself, what did I do today to make progress towards my goals? And every day, just take 5-10 minutes and just write a little list of the things you've made progress in, health goals, financial goals. And if you take a few minutes every day, now you can see progress. Ask yourself today, did I move forward or backwards? I have found there is great joy in just thinking about, gosh, today I just made a little brushstroke on the masterpiece of my life. And just think about it and say, gosh, I am happy that today I took a step forward towards my dreams. And now, just go to bed every night thinking about the progress you've made that day towards your dreams, your goals. And this will pay huge dividends. Now, I also want you to go through your goals, and to me, it's like work on all of them. Write everything out in every aspect of your life. But now, once you've done it all, what I want you to do is go back and prioritize the goals. And what I want you to do is look at all of the goals there, and I want you to say, gosh, which ones are the most important to me? Which are the highest priority? And what I want you to do is prioritize your goals, and it doesn't matter how many you have. If you have 10 goals, I want you to say, gosh, what are my top 20%? So that would be 2. If you have 20 goals, what's my top 20%? Now you're going to have 4 goals that are going to be your top 20%. And here's what I want you to do. Dedicated 80% of your time, 80% of your effort to working on the top 20% of your goals. Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate, was trying to figure out how to be as productive as possible. And he hired a variety of consultants. He offered a huge sum of money if they could figure out how to help him figure out what his most productive use of his time was. And one person said, I can tell you it's going to cost you $20,000. But you only have to pay me after you know it's right. And he said, what you have to do is every day, write down what are the 5 most valuable activities you can think of doing today. And then go to work on the most important. Ignore the others. Go to work on the most important. Once you've got it done, move on to the next one. And if it takes all day to do number 1 and you still haven't completed it, just keep working on that. Next day, ask yourself, what's the most important thing for me to do today? And every day, work on the things that are the most important. And Andrew Carnegie tried this, and he said, it makes such a huge difference. And he ended up paying the $20,000 for that little piece of advice. I have found if you will spend 80% of your time working on the top 20% of your goals, your productivity, your happiness, your success will be so much more successful. We've all heard of the 80-20 rule, but I found it really does make a difference. Remember, getting to your goals is the consistency. I love the great quote from Jackson Browne. He said, in the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins, not through strength, but by perseverance. See, the water is soft. It's hitting a hard rock, but it keeps coming and it keeps coming and it keeps coming. And the rock turns it away and it turns away. And yet the rock always falls. Persistence, moving forward, one little step at a time, makes such a huge difference. Now, once you have your goals broken down and you have some action steps, I found it's also great to take your goals and turn them into a business plan. I call this your game plan for the year ahead. See, your game plan is an outline of what you need to do. And if you go to the download site from the seminar, there's some sample game plans. Now, they're marketing oriented, but you want to take that same game plan. Basically, it's a spreadsheet. Each month will across the top, and then you put the activities that you want to have happen. I want to have my brochure mailed here. I want to send out an ad here. I want an ad on Facebook. Okay, so to do that, when do I need to have the ad written by? When do I need to have the landing page complete? And now you say, well, I need to have that go in here. And you work backwards. And now, when you wake up, you follow a plan. You look at the plan and say, okay, here's my goals. Now, here's the plan to get there. And let me lay it out in as much detail. And now, what you do is you lay out the general plan for the year. and you spend a couple hours each month putting great detail into the next month's plan. Now, some things you have to say, well, gosh, 3 months from now, I'm going to do this big project and I have to start working on this now. And you're going to have more detail in a couple months. But what I want you to do is make sure that that month ahead also has a great plan. So you have a general year plan, but now you have a specific monthly plan that you review and move forward with. This will make a huge difference. See, now on the monthly plan, you can make little adjustments. And at the end of the month, you can say, well, gosh, based on my progress here, I need to adjust my year plan. And now what I found is that you're moving forward and making great progress each and every month. And now, at the end of a month, you say, well, gosh, I'm behind on this project. Well, now, what do I need to do to catch up? How do I adjust my plan? I'm always amazed that so many agents get to the end of the year, they say, gosh, it's October 2014. How did I end up here? I didn't make the income. I didn't do this. Well, when did you realize you were off track? I don't know. It just sort of happened. Well, no, it just doesn't sort of happen. You should have known you were off track last February and adjusted. That's why you set the goals. That's why you put together a plan. And now if you make the little adjustments at the end of January, you say, well, gosh, my plan's on track. I'm ahead. I'm behind. How do I adjust now? See, you have a bad year by having 365 bad days. See, a bad year starts by 12 months, 52 weeks, 365 days, and you do it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. And now, if you're making the adjustments, you're looking on a regular basis, it's hard to have a bad year, because if you're off track, you'll catch it in January. And now make the adjustment, so by the end of February, you're back on track. Now, part of doing this effectively is thinking about your own concept of yourself as a person. And I think sometimes people get stuck because they say, well, Greg, I've never been able to be that organized, that disciplined, and I love being having spontaneity in my life. So what I want you to do right now, or as you're doing this process, is write out the concept of the person you believe you have to become to accomplish everything you want next year. So ask yourself, gosh, I have these goals, I have this dream. What type of a person do I have to be to make that all a reality? Maybe you say, well, gosh, I have to be a little bit more organized. I have to be this way. I have to be that way. Write down the concept of that person. Now, write down the pros and cons. Do the old Ben Franklin. Pros, cons. Draw the T. What are the pros if I become that person, if I work at doing those things? And then write down the cons. What are the disadvantages? So, gosh, I need to be more organized. I need to have a vision. I need to have these things. I need to make sure I do have a yearly, weekly, monthly plan. Well, what are the cons? It's going to cost me a little spontaneity. And write out a complete list, the pros and cons of each thing, of the vision of the person it's going to take to make that happen. And now ask yourself, is the outcome I'm going for worth the effort? Is it worth becoming the person that will get me where I want to go? Or do I just want to settle for what I currently have? And just ask yourself that question. See, because now this becomes the rub. If you can't see yourself being the person that will accomplish it, you'll never take action. Now, I hope this has been valuable to you today. I know this is a lot of work. I know that it's going to take some time and effort, but I will tell you the payoff is well worth it. I hope you'll email me, ask me for my goal accomplishment guide, fill it out completely. And you know what? If you feel comfortable with it, I'd love for you to share it with me. I'd love to read your goals. When I get people to share their goals with me, it inspires me. And I look at their game plan. And if you put together a game plan for the year, and I take a look at it, especially in relationship to your real estate career, I'll make any adjustments or make any suggestions. Say, gosh, this looks a little off here. You're just making a mistake. You might consider adding more of this in there. And I know every year I make this offer to people. And every year I have a few people send me their game plan. And then I make some suggestions. And a year later they say, Greg, this was so helpful. I can't believe the year I've had. Unfortunately, the average agent says, well, yeah, I didn't get around to it. Because I'm busy. I don't. Who's got time to set goals, to think about where they are, where they want to go, think about what their life is really going to be like. And now, these are the same people that towards the end of their lives look back and say, gosh, I wish I would have done it differently. I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have made this effort. Time goes by so incredibly fast. Make sure that you don't let it slip away. I want to wrap up today with a poem that I think is so meaningful. Let me see if I can find it here very quickly. I had it, and where did it go? This poem, I'm sure you've heard it before, but it just reminds me that we can make such a difference. The poem says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us all. It's not just in some, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we are unconsciously giving other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You have an opportunity to let your light shine fully in 2015. Spend some time thinking about what you really want it to be. And I know it can be an absolutely glorious year for you. I want to thank you very much. First of all, I would love your feedback about the webinar. I would also love comments about it on Facebook. I'm always disappointed at how few people come from all of us seminar graduates every month. And I appreciate you for being here each and every month. I will try and bring you information that will make a difference for you. Now, we're about out of time today, but if you email me a question, I would be happy to answer that. I'll answer it by email. Thanks again for being here. and God bless.